When I was sick with a fever, my fiancée chose a concert with her male best friend over me, saying, I can't let him down. I replied, I see. When she came home, I was gone. Buckle up, Reddit, because this is going to be a long one with a satisfying ending. I 34 male construction project manager, and my fiancée just learned that actions have consequences in the most brutal way possible. Her friends are calling me heartless, but I think I just enforced some basic respect and boundaries. You be the judge of whether I went too far or not far enough. Before I get into the nuclear fallout that destroyed her entire world, let me give you some background so you understand exactly how badly she messed up and why karma hit her so hard. I grew up dirt poor in rural Ohio. Dad bailed when I was 7, leaving mom to raise 3 kids on waitress wages. We lived in a trailer park, where the heat got shut off every winter, and dinner was often just ramen noodles or whatever was cheapest at the dollar store. I was that kid wearing the same jeans with holes every day because we couldn't afford new clothes. Mom worked double shifts at the local diner, often coming home at midnight smelling like grease and coffee, completely exhausted, but still managing to help us with homework at the kitchen table. The trailer park wasn't exactly a safe neighborhood either. Broken glass in the playground, police sirens at least twice a week, and neighbors who'd scream at each other until 3 in the morning. I remember lying awake listening to domestic disputes through paper-thin walls, promising myself I'd never live like that again. The smell of that place still haunts me, a mixture of mildew, desperation, and dreams that died too young. But here's the thing about growing up poor. It either breaks you or makes you hungry. I got hungry, really hungry. Started working construction at 15, lying about my age to get hired. The foreman probably knew I wasn't 18, but good workers were hard to find, and I showed up every day ready to work. Spent summers hauling materials, mixing concrete, and learning from guys who'd been building houses since before I was born. These old-timers taught me everything: framing, electrical basics, plumbing, project management, and most importantly, how to earn respect through quality work. My hands were covered in calluses by 16. Other kids my age were worried about prom dates and video games, but I was learning how to read blueprints, manage material deliveries, and coordinate with subcontractors. Every dollar I earned went toward 2 things: helping mom with bills and saving for college. No teenage luxuries, no car, no fancy clothes. Just work and determination. Community college for business management while working full-time construction jobs. No student loans because I paid cash from my wages every semester. I'd wake up at 5 a.m. for classes, work construction from noon to 8 p.m., then study until midnight. Weekends were double shifts on job sites. My classmates thought I was crazy, but I knew exactly what I was working toward. Transferred to state school after 2 years, graduated with a degree in construction management and 0 debt because I worked my tail off. The university kids with their trust funds and fancy cars looked down on me, but I didn't care. I was building something they'd never understand. Real financial security earned through sweat and sacrifice. Spent my 20s grinding 80-hour weeks, taking on bigger and more complex projects, slowly building a solid reputation in the industry for quality work and meeting deadlines. Every job was an opportunity to prove myself. When other contractors cut corners, I delivered perfection. When they showed up late, I was early. When they made excuses, I found solutions. By 25, I was running job sites for major residential developments. By 28, I was managing million-dollar projects. Wealthy homeowners started requesting me specifically because they knew I'd deliver exactly what they wanted, on time and within budget. By 30, I had my own construction company specializing in high-end residential projects, the kind where rich people pay $200,000 just to remodel their kitchen, or $500,000 to add a custom wine cellar. I learned that wealthy folks will pay premium prices for quality work done on time by someone who shows up when they say they will and treats their property like it's sacred ground. Last year, my company cleared $190,000 profit after expenses. I own my equipment outright. No loans, no leases, just pure equity in excavators, trucks, and tools that make money every day. I have 6 full-time employees who've been with me for years because I pay them well and treat them with respect. We maintain contracts with 3 luxury home builders who send us steady work because they trust our quality. My personal house is a 4,200 square foot place I built myself. No mortgage, worth about $580,000 in today's market. Custom everything. Hardwood floors I milled from trees on my own property. Granite countertops I selected from the quarry personally. Electrical and plumbing systems I designed for maximum efficiency. Every nail, every tile, every fixture chosen with care and installed with pride. I've got $750,000 in various investments and retirement accounts. Money market funds, index funds, some individual stocks and companies I understand. Nothing fancy or risky, just steady growth that'll let me retire comfortably whenever I choose. Point is, I earned every single dollar through sweat, smart decisions, and refusing to quit when things got difficult. No trust fund, no lottery ticket, no inheritance from rich relatives. Just pure grinding and business sense built on a foundation of never wanting to be poor again. That's important context for what happened with Riley, because she never understood the difference between earning money and expecting it. Met Riley 2.5 years ago at a farmer's market in downtown Cleveland. She was working a booth, selling overpriced organic soaps that probably cost $3 to make but sold for $30. Looking like she stepped out of a magazine? Blonde hair perfectly styled despite the humidity, makeup that probably took an hour to apply, wearing some designer sundress that cost more than most people spend on groceries in a month. I was there buying actual food, fresh vegetables, local meat, honey from a beekeeper who'd been working the same spot for 20 years. Still wearing work clothes because I'd come straight from a job site where we were installing custom cabinets in a $1 million kitchen remodel. Definitely not the type of guy who usually caught her attention, but something about my confidence seemed to intrigue her. We started talking about her soap business, and I could tell she was inflating the numbers, claiming to have wholesale accounts that probably didn't exist, talking about expansion plans that sounded more like fantasies than actual business strategy. But she was beautiful, and I was lonely after working 14-hour days for months straight. Somehow I managed to get her number, though I'm pretty sure she only gave it to me after I mentioned owning my own construction company. The way her eyes lit up when I said that should have been a warning sign, but I was thinking with the wrong part of my anatomy. First few months were incredible. She seemed genuinely impressed that I'd built my business from nothing, would ask detailed questions about my projects, seemed interested in hearing about the houses I was building. I thought I'd found someone who valued hard work and ambition, someone who understood that success comes from dedication and sacrifice. Looking back, she was probably just calculating my net worth and figuring out how to access it. The red flag started small. She'd forget her wallet when we went to dinner, then apologize profusely while I paid the bill. Her car would mysteriously need expensive repairs right after I mentioned landing a big contract. Transmission problems that required $3,000, brake issues that couldn't wait, air conditioning that died right before summer. She started hinting that her apartment was too cramped and wouldn't it be practical if she moved in with me since I had all that space and she could help with decorating. Like an idiot blinded by physical attraction and the fantasy of domestic happiness, I said yes after about 8 months of dating. Biggest mistake of my life, but I was thinking she'd contribute to household expenses and we'd build something together like an actual partnership. That's when I met Tyler, her supposed best friend from college. This guy was everything I wasn't, 6'2", looked like he could model underwear for Calvin Klein, worked as a personal trainer making maybe $35,000 on a good year, but somehow always seemed to have money for expensive gym supplements and designer workout clothes. The way he looked at Riley made it obvious he had feelings for her, but she claimed they were just friends, and accused me of being paranoid and controlling whenever I questioned their relationship. Tyler had a key to my house within 3 weeks of Riley moving in. Just showed up one day while I was at work, Riley casually mentioning that she'd given him one for emergencies. He'd show up whenever he wanted, raid my refrigerator like he lived there, use my pool without asking permission, and act like my house was his personal gym and country club. I'd come home from 12-hour days pouring concrete and managing crews to find him lounging around in swim shorts, while Riley made him elaborate lunches using groceries I'd paid for. When I brought this up, Riley would explode about how Tyler was like family, and I was being controlling and insecure. According to her, I should be grateful she had such a supportive friend who helped her deal with my toxic masculinity and trust issues. Every conversation about boundaries became a lecture about my character flaws and how lucky I was that she put up with my jealousy and possessiveness. 6 months after moving in, Riley quit her soap-making gig, said she wanted to focus on building her personal brand on social media and needed time to develop her content strategy. Her Instagram was basically photos of expensive food and clothes that I was paying for, along with motivational quotes about living your best life and following your dreams that she'd stolen from Pinterest. The spending got out of control fast. $300 orders from various makeup companies because it was for content creation, and she needed to test products for reviews. Designer clothes because she needed to maintain her image and look professional for brand partnerships. Expensive gym membership at the trendy place downtown because networking is essential for influencers, and she might meet potential sponsors. I was covering everything. mortgage, utilities, groceries, her car payment, insurance, phone bill, gym membership, and a growing list of subscription services she claimed were business expenses. Netflix, Hulu, Spotify Premium, Adobe Creative Suite, 3 different meditation apps, and some kind of business coaching program that cost $200 a month. She hadn't contributed a single dollar to household expenses in over a year. When I tried discussing it, she'd start crying about how stressed she was building her career and how I was putting financial pressure on her during a vulnerable time. According to her, I didn't understand the modern economy or how much work content creation required. She'd spend hours taking photos of herself in different outfits, then editing them with expensive software, then posting them to her Instagram, where they'd get maybe 50 likes from accounts that were probably bots. Tyler was always there for these conversations, backing her up and making comments about how some guys don't understand entrepreneurship, and content creation is real work that deserves financial support. This dude was literally coaching my girlfriend on how to manipulate me in my own house that I built with my own hands while eating food I paid for. The engagement was honestly my biggest mistake looking back. I spent $11,000 on a ring, more money than some people make in months, and planned this elaborate proposal at a fancy restaurant downtown. Flew her parents in from Michigan, had the photographer capture everything, even hired a violinist to play her favorite song. She said yes immediately, but then started planning a wedding that would have cost more than my pickup truck. Designer dress, expensive venue, destination bachelor and bachelorette parties, professional videography, flowers flown in from Ecuador. When I suggested maybe keeping it reasonable and focusing on our actual relationship instead of just the party, she accused me of not valuing our relationship and said Tyler completely agreed that our wedding should properly reflect my success and status in the community. I should have seen it then. She wasn't marrying me. She was marrying my bank account and the lifestyle it could provide. Meanwhile, her Instagram career was going nowhere fast. After 2 years of building her brand, she had maybe 2,800 followers, most of whom were probably fake accounts or people following her back out of politeness. No sponsorship deals, no income, no brand partnerships, despite her constant claims that companies were interested and deals were in the works. But she kept insisting she was building something big and just needed more time and financial support to reach the next level. Last month, I got hit with the worst food poisoning of my life. Started Thursday night after eating at some new fusion restaurant that Riley wanted to try because she'd seen it featured on some influencer's Instagram story. By Friday morning, I was running a 102-degree fever, couldn't keep water down, completely wiped out and feeling like someone was using my intestines as a punching bag. This happened to fall on the weekend of some music festival that Riley and Tyler had been planning to attend for months. 3-day passes, hotel reservations, camping gear, new festival outfits for Riley, the works, all funded by me, naturally. Total cost was around $750, not including the money she'd already spent on clothes and accessories specifically for this trip. Friday morning, I was getting significantly worse instead of better. Could barely get out of bed without feeling like I might collapse or pass out completely. My head was pounding, like someone was hitting it with a hammer. I was shaking from chills despite the fever, and I hadn't been able to keep any food down for over 12 hours. Even water was coming back up within minutes. I asked Riley if she could grab some specific electrolyte solutions and maybe some bland soup from the deli before heading to the festival. Just basic supplies to help me recover. I was getting genuinely worried about dehydration and had already looked up urgent care hours in case I needed medical attention. Ugh, babe, I'm already running late. Tyler is picking me up in an hour and we need to get there early to set up camp. Can't you just order delivery? I explained that I'd already tried ordering food, but my stomach couldn't handle anything except very specific bland stuff. Plain rice, clear broth, maybe some saltine crackers. Plus, I was getting worried about dehydration and might need someone to drive me to urgent care if things got worse. I couldn't drive myself in this condition. You're being really dramatic. It's just food poisoning, not the plague. I've been looking forward to this festival for months and Tyler already confirmed our campsite reservation. Wait, what? I thought you guys were staying at the hotel I booked. Well, yeah, but Tyler thought camping would be more fun and authentic, so he canceled the hotel and got us a campsite instead. You'll get refunded for the hotel eventually. Red flag number infinity. But I was too sick to process it properly. They'd made a major change to plans I'd paid for without even asking me. Riley, I really need you here. I'm actually concerned about dehydration and I can barely function. Can't you guys leave tomorrow instead? Or maybe Tyler could go and you could join him later? That's when she said the words that ended our relationship forever. Look, I get that you're sick, But Tyler has been planning this weekend for months. All his friends are going, and I already promised I'd be there. You're a grown man. You can handle some stomach issues for one weekend. I'll be back Sunday night. So you're choosing a music festival with Tyler over taking care of your fiancé during a medical emergency? Oh my God, you're being so manipulative right now. It's not that serious. People get food poisoning all the time. I'll be back Sunday night, and you'll probably be fine by then anyway. Stop trying to guilt trip me into missing something I've been excited about for months. The audacity was breathtaking. Here I was, literally sick as a dog, asking my fiancé for basic care and support, and she was treating me like an inconvenience that was interfering with her party plans. She packed her bags while I lay there, burning up with fever, grabbing her festival outfits and camping gear like she was going on vacation, left me there alone in the house I built, while she went to party with her best friend using money I earned at an event I funded. That's when everything clicked with perfect, painful clarity. This wasn't a relationship. It was a business arrangement where I provided money and housing in exchange for the privilege of dating someone out of my league. And Tyler wasn't just her friend. He was her backup plan for when she got bored with me, probably the real reason she wanted to keep him so close. Time to show them both what happens when you bite the hand that feeds you. While Riley was off playing house with Tyler at a festival I funded, I spent the weekend planning their complete financial destruction. The fever broke Saturday morning, and for the first time in months, my head was completely clear. Amazing how clarity comes when you stop making excuses for people who don't respect you. First, I did some detective work, pulled up all our joint credit card statements, and found some very interesting patterns. Riley and Tyler had been going to couples spa treatments, expensive dinners at romantic restaurants, even a weekend in Nashville that she'd told me was a girls' trip with her college friends, all charged to my cards without my knowledge or permission. We're talking about $13,000 in fraudulent charges over the past year. The evidence was damning. Couples massages at luxury spas, dinners at intimate restaurants where entrees cost $60, hotel rooms with single king-size beds, even charges for lingerie from Victoria's Secret on the same day as romantic dinner reservations. This wasn't friendship. This was a full-blown affair funded by my money. Saturday afternoon, I started making strategic moves, called my bank and reported all my cards stolen. Every single one. The ones in my wallet, the ones Riley carried for emergencies, the business cards, everything. Told them I'd discovered unauthorized usage and needed all accounts frozen immediately. Got new cards rushed to my office address, not my house, with completely different numbers. Next step was securing my property. Called a locksmith and had every lock changed. Front door, back door, garage, workshop, pool house, everything. Cost me $380, but worth every penny to know Tyler couldn't just walk into my house anymore like he owned the place. Had them install deadbolts and high-security locks that couldn't be easily picked or bypassed. Then I systematically removed Riley from everything, called the utility companies, and took her name off every account. Electric, gas, water, internet, trash service, landscaping service. She'd somehow convinced me to add her to these for emergencies and in case something happened to me. But since she'd never paid a single bill, removing her was straightforward. The car situation was particularly beautiful. Riley's BMW was financed through my credit union under my name only. She'd wanted me to co-sign when we first got serious, claiming it would help her build credit. Called them Saturday evening. Reported the vehicle taken out of state without permission by an unauthorized user. They sent a repo truck to the festival grounds Sunday morning. The repo team sent me photos of the whole thing. Riley and Tyler frantically arguing with security while their ride home got loaded onto a flatbed truck. Apparently, they'd tried claiming the car belonged to Riley, but when the repo team asked for registration and proof of ownership, all they had were excuses. Must have been humiliating in front of all their festival friends. But my masterpiece was the housing situation. See, Riley thought she was clever having mail delivered to my address and claiming residency for various accounts and applications. What she didn't realize is that in Ohio, this made her my tenant legally, not my live-in girlfriend. And as her landlord, I had specific rights and procedures I could follow. I spent Sunday drafting an official eviction notice, 30 days to vacate for non-payment of rent. She'd never paid me anything for living there, never signed a lease agreement, never contributed to mortgage or maintenance costs, which meant she was essentially squatting in my house. Had the notice properly served by a process server Sunday afternoon while she was still at the festival wondering how she was getting home. The final touch was getting my lawyer to draw up a comprehensive financial agreement stating that any assets acquired during our relationship remained with their original owner and that she had no claim to my house, business, vehicles, or future earnings. Also included documentation of the fraudulent credit card charges and theft of personal property, just in case she wanted to make this complicated. Riley came home Sunday night around 9:30 p.m., probably expecting to slide back into her comfortable lifestyle like nothing happened. I was sitting in my living room reading a construction trade magazine when I heard her key fail to work in the lock. The pounding started immediately. "Derek, what the heck? My key isn't working!" I let her bang on the door for about 10 minutes while I finished my article about new safety regulations in commercial construction. She was getting increasingly frantic, probably realizing that her car getting repossessed wasn't just some random mistake. Finally answered the door. She was standing there with Tyler, both looking like they'd been partying hard all weekend. Her festival outfit was dirty and wrinkled, her makeup was smeared, and she had that entitled expression I'd grown to despise. Tyler looked uncomfortable, probably sensing that something had shifted dramatically. "Why did you change the locks? And why was my car repossessed? Do you have any idea how embarrassing that was in front of all our friends?" "Your car? You mean the car that's financed under my name, with insurance I pay for, using money from my bank account? Come inside, Riley, we need to have a conversation." Tyler tried to follow her in, but I blocked the doorway with my body. "Actually, Tyler, this is between me and Riley. You can wait outside." "Derek, don't be rude to Tyler. He's been helping me deal with your controlling behavior all weekend." That's when I handed her the eviction notice and financial agreement. "Riley, you have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. You'll also need to sign this document acknowledging you have no legal claim to any of my property or assets." She skimmed the first page and completely lost it. "Are you kidding me? You can't evict me? I live here. This is my house too. We're engaged." "Actually, it's not your house. Your name isn't on the deed, the mortgage, or any utility accounts. You've never paid rent or contributed to household expenses. Legally, you're a tenant who's been living here rent-free, and now you're being evicted for non-payment." Tyler stepped forward, trying to look intimidating, which was almost funny considering I'd been doing physical labor since I was 15, and he spent his days helping soccer moms with their bicep curls. "Bro, you can't just kick her out like this. She has rights." "Actually, Tyler, she doesn't. And since you're not a resident here, you're currently trespassing on my property. I suggest you leave before I call the police and have you arrested." Riley was crying now, but these weren't her usual manipulative tears designed to get her way. These were genuine panic tears from someone who finally realized their gravy train had permanently left the station. "Derek, baby, we can work this out. I know I made a mistake going to the festival, but this is insane. You can't just throw me out over one disagreement." "I'm not throwing you out. You have 30 days to figure out your living arrangements. That's more generous than most landlords would provide to tenants who don't pay rent. Where am I supposed to go? I don't have any money saved up." "Maybe you should have thought about that before spending $13,000 of my money on secret dates with your boyfriend here." Tyler got defensive immediately. "Riley and I are just friends, man. You're being paranoid and controlling." I pulled out printed copies of the credit card statements I'd organized earlier, highlighted charges with dates and locations, couples massages, romantic dinners, hotel rooms with single beds, lingerie purchases. "Really looks like friendship to me, Tyler? Want to explain these charges?" The look on both their faces was priceless. Pure panic mixed with the realization that they'd been caught red-handed. The next month was absolutely satisfying to observe from the front row. Riley tried every manipulation tactic in her playbook. Crying, screaming, threats, attempting seduction, getting mutual friends to intervene, even showing up at my job site trying to cause a scene. Nothing worked because I'd finally stopped caring about her feelings and started prioritizing my own well-being. She hired a lawyer using money borrowed from her parents, thinking she could fight the eviction legally, and maybe claim common law marriage or palimony. Her lawyer took one look at my documentation and told her she had no case whatsoever. She'd never paid rent, never signed a lease agreement, had no legal claim to the property, and no evidence of financial partnership. The $13,000 in unauthorized credit card charges actually gave me grounds to press criminal fraud charges if I chose to. The job search was absolutely hilarious to watch. Turns out Instagram influencer with 2,800 followers isn't a legitimate career credential when you're applying for real jobs. She applied everywhere: restaurants, retail stores, temp agencies, even entry-level office positions. Nobody wanted to hire someone with a 2-year employment gap and no actual marketable skills beyond taking selfies and spending other people's money. Her resume was basically a joke. Social media manager for her own Instagram account. entrepreneur for the soap business that never made money, content creator with no measurable results or income. When potential employers asked about her experience, she had nothing concrete to offer. No sales figures, no successful campaigns, no professional references who could vouch for actual work ethic. Tyler disappeared faster than morning mist once the money stopped flowing. Turns out Mr. Best Friend was only interested in Riley when she came with free meals, expensive gifts, and access to my house and pool. The second she couldn't fund his lifestyle anymore, he completely ghosted her, blocked her on social media, stopped returning her calls, even switched to a different gym to avoid seeing her. Riley's parents weren't particularly helpful either. They'd always suspected she was taking advantage of me and weren't interested in enabling her behavior anymore. They let her move back into her childhood bedroom, but made it clear this was temporary and she needed to figure out her life independently. No more financial support, no more making excuses for her failures. The social media meltdown was genuinely entertaining. Riley started posting these dramatic Instagram stories about being betrayed by someone she trusted and how some people show their true colors when you need them most. Her followers, all 2,800 of them, mostly responded with laughing emojis and comments about seeing this coming from miles away. Apparently, her situation wasn't as secret as she thought. But the real satisfaction came when she finally understood how completely screwed she actually was. During the moving process, I discovered she'd been stealing small items from my house for months. Tools from my workshop, expensive supplements from my medicine cabinet, even some of my business equipment like a laser level and cordless drill set. I documented everything with photos and included it in my final financial accounting that my lawyer sent her parents, just so they'd understand the full scope of their daughter's character. 4 months later, I was living my absolute best life. Got promoted to senior project manager for the biggest construction firm in the region with a $210,000 salary plus profit sharing. Started dating an amazing woman named Sarah, who's a nurse practitioner and actually pays for her own meals, has her own car, her own apartment, and her own career goals that don't involve becoming an Instagram famous freeloader. Finally had my house back to being my sanctuary instead of a crash pad for ungrateful parasites. Could come home after work and actually relax instead of wondering what expensive drama was waiting for me. My stress levels dropped, my sleep improved, and I remembered what it felt like to be in control of my own life. That's when Riley showed up at my office. I was walking to my truck after work when I spotted her sitting on a bench outside the building. She looked rough. Cheap clothes from discount stores, no makeup, hair in a messy ponytail that probably hadn't been washed in days. This was definitely not the Instagram princess I'd been engaged to. The designer clothes were gone, replaced by clearance rack outfits that didn't fit properly. "Derek, please. I really need to talk to you." I stopped walking but didn't sit down. No point in getting comfortable for whatever sob story she was about to deliver. "What's going on, Riley?" "I'm pregnant." My blood went cold for exactly 3 seconds until I did the math. We'd been broken up for 4 months, and I hadn't touched her since before the festival incident. "Congratulations." Tyler must be thrilled. Her face completely crumpled. "It's not Tyler's baby, and it's not yours either. I made some really bad decisions after we broke up." "Okay, what does any of this have to do with me? I need help. I can't afford to have a baby. I'm working at a discount store for $11 an hour and living in my parents' basement. I can barely afford my phone bill. The father wants absolutely nothing to do with it." I waited for her to get to her actual point, though I could already see where this was heading. "I know I messed up everything between us. I know I took advantage of you and treated you terribly, but I'm desperate. Can you please help me? I'll pay you back somehow, I promise." "Help you how exactly? Money for doctor appointments? Maybe help with a security deposit on an apartment? I can't raise a baby in my parents' basement. Please, Derek, you're the only person I know who has the financial means to help." The sheer audacity was breathtaking. This woman had spent years using me as her personal bank account, cheated on me with her best friend, abandoned me during a medical emergency, stolen my property, and now wanted me to fund her single motherhood journey with some random guy's baby. "Riley, do you remember what you told me when I was sick with food poisoning and asked you to take care of me?" "Derek, that was completely different. You said I was being dramatic and that I needed to handle it myself because you couldn't disappoint Tyler. So I'm going to give you the exact same advice you gave me. You're a grown woman. Figure it out yourself." I started walking toward my truck. "Derek, please. I'm literally begging you. I'll do anything you want. I'll sign whatever legal agreement you demand. I'll post publicly on social media admitting how terrible I was to you. Whatever you want me to do." I turned back to look at her one final time. Riley, you had the opportunity to be part of something real with someone who would have taken care of you for life. Instead, you chose to be a parasite who thought money would always flow regardless of how you treated the person providing it. Now you get to learn what the real world looks like for people who don't have someone else paying all their bills. But what about the baby? I'm scared and I don't know what I'm doing. What about it? You made your choice when you decided to sleep around after our relationship ended. That baby isn't my responsibility any more than you are. You're on your own. As I drove away, I could see her in my rearview mirror still sitting on that bench, crying. Did I feel guilty for about 2 seconds? Maybe. Then I remembered how she'd laughed about me being dramatic when I was literally dehydrated with a dangerous fever, and any trace of sympathy completely evaporated. Tyler had actually reached out through a mutual friend a few weeks earlier, apparently asking if I'd consider hiring him for some construction work. The mutual friend said Tyler was struggling to make rent and thought I might be willing to help him out, for old time's sake. The guy who'd helped my fiancée steal $13,000 from me wanted me to give him a job. I told our mutual friend to let Tyler know he should try asking Riley for help, since she was the one who chose him over me. Oh, wait. She's completely broke too, and working retail for $11 an hour. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for refusing to help my ex-fiancée after she literally begged me to fund her single motherhood when she'd previously abandoned me during a medical emergency? Her friends think I'm cruel, but I sleep perfectly every night, knowing I dodged the biggest bullet of my entire life. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people face the natural consequences of their own choices. What do you think? Was I too harsh, or did she get exactly what she deserved?